India's GDP has crossed $4.19 trillion, and the government can't shut up about it. Headlines are filled with celebration, charts are going vertical, and Narendra Modi is already preparing his next India Shining speech. But let's get one thing straight. GDP is not quality of life, it's not food on the table, it's not clean water in your tap. It's just a number. And in India's case, it's a number that hides more than it reveals. Because while the economy gets fatter on paper, the people, they're still stuck in survival mode. Over 800 million Indians still rely on free food rations under the National Food Security Act. That's more than half the country needing subsidized grain to survive, while the government throws parties over GDP rankings. If that's not the biggest contradiction in modern economic history, I don't know what is. But of course, Modi's too busy building statues and naming stadiums after himself to care. Please take a moment to like the video and subscribe to the channel. So where exactly is this growth happening? Certainly not in the neighborhoods where the average Indian lives. The country's infrastructure is a case study in selective development. Yes, India has flashy airports and clean metro stations, but only in the elite zones of major cities. Go just a few miles out and the illusion collapses. Roads turn to rubble, garbage piles up, power lines hang like cobwebs, and open defecation is still a reality for millions. You'll find broken streetlights next to tech parks, children bathing in gutters outside five-star hotels, and slums bursting at the seams while glass towers rise in the background. Entire states like Bihar and Jharkhand look like they've been forgotten by time. And let's not pretend the government doesn't know, it just doesn't care. Because the only places that get attention are the ones that show well on Instagram or impress foreign investors. The quality of life in India has barely improved for most people, and certainly not at the rate you'd expect from a $4 trillion economy. Public healthcare is a mess. Government schools are dysfunctional, the air is unbreathable in cities like Delhi and Kanpur, and the tap water is often undrinkable in both rural and urban areas. It's 2025, and yet millions of Indians still have no access to a basic toilet. How is this acceptable? You don't get to claim global superpower status when your citizens are dying from diarrhea and your cities flood with every monsoon. And then there's the tax system, a cruel joke played on the only segment of Indians actually earning enough to live decently. The rich don't pay, the poor don't earn, and the middle class, they get squeezed dry. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman, under Modi's blessing, has turned the Indian tax code into a punishment chamber for salaried workers. Income tax, GST, cess, surcharge, every rupee is taxed and then taxed again. You buy a phone, tax. You book a hotel, tax. You get a paycheck, well, here comes TDS. It's no wonder the Indian middle class has stopped spending. They're too busy surviving. No relief, no real health care, no quality education for their kids, just taxes, tolls, and token promises. The only thing growing faster than GDP in India is the number of frustrated taxpayers. Now compare that to China. Say what you want about their political system, but China has pulled over 800 million people out of poverty in just 30 years, the greatest poverty reduction in human history. From dirt roads to bullet trains, from slums to smart cities, from famine to global manufacturing hub, the average Chinese citizen today lives longer, earns more, eats better, travels faster, and breathes cleaner than they did in the 1990s. The transformation is real, and it wasn't achieved by shouting slogans or chasing vanity projects. It was achieved through serious governance, infrastructure, investment, industrial policy, and poverty-targeted programs that actually worked. Meanwhile, India's leaders are busy organizing religious rallies, banning documentaries, and renaming Mughal gardens, while the country sinks deeper into dysfunction. Let's talk about education. India's youth, the so-called demographic dividend, is being flushed down the drain. In rural schools, half the kids in 5th grade can't even read a 2nd grade textbook. Teachers are missing, toilets are unusable, electricity is patchy, and classrooms are overcrowded. Meanwhile, elite private schools and international institutions cater to the top 1% like nothing's wrong. This isn't a knowledge economy, it's a fractured mess, where one side gets Silicon Valley exposure and the other gets chalk dust and corporal punishment. And when those kids grow up, what jobs are waiting for them? Unemployment is still a national crisis. Youth unemployment is over 23%, and those who do find jobs are usually stuck in the informal sector, working long hours for peanuts with no contracts or social security. Graduates are delivering food, engineers are manning retail counters, and MBAs are applying for government clerk jobs that open once every 5 years. Modi loves to preach about Startup India, but the only thing starting up is desperation. Jobless youth aren't a demographic dividend, they're a time bomb. India's cities aren't much better. Urban planning is non-existent, traffic is hell, public transport is unreliable. Slums grow faster than the skyline. You can build all the flyovers you want, but when the drainage fails and the city floods in the first rain, that's not progress. It's performative development. While Gurugram pretends to be a global hub, sewage leaks in residential colonies, power cuts are routine, and construction debris is part of the landscape. Even Bengaluru, India's so-called tech capital, can't survive a week of rain without turning into Venice. And yet Modi continues his theatrical charade, speeches, stage lights, emotional appeals, and endless branding exercises. New India, he says, Amrit Kaal, he promises. But for most Indians, the only thing that's new is the price of onions, the GST on essentials, and the rising EMIs. The economy may be getting bigger, but the Indian wallet is getting lighter. You don't eat GDP. You don't drink foreign investments. You don't survive on FDI rankings. You live off the system around you, your school, your job, your hospital, your road, your water supply. And if those are broken, it doesn't matter how many times Nirmala Sitharaman reads out positive fundamentals in her budget speech. India doesn't need more GDP milestones. It needs dignity for its workers, security for its poor, relief for its middle class, and opportunity for its youth. Until then, this $4 trillion economy is nothing more than a fancy disguise on a decaying core. India is rising, yes, but it's leaving its people behind. And the man at the top, he's too busy posing for cameras to notice. If you enjoyed the video, like the video and subscribe for more